Yeah, no worries. I had no choice.
Well, Jeff, I've got to say congratulations on this album. I've been sitting down today listening to this album, and it's taking me back to when I first discovered metal back in my teenage years. So, congratulations.
Well, that's fantastic. That's one person who's happy but didn't have to buy a copy. So
Don't worry, I will still buy the vinyl. That's definite. So,
download it.
yeah, I've got to say, mate, that there's something about this album that sounds like classic Carcass. Tell us a little bit about what you guys were setting out to achieve with this album.
I don't think we're out to achieve anything. Just trying to make the best album we could. As to whether we succeeded is another thing altogether. But you just go and write some songs and hope they're strong and hope they please people. So, I mean, you like it, so that's one person, mission accomplished,
Definitely. And I believe that the original idea for this album came from a demo that Ken wrote back in the 80s. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about that.
No, it's the album title, nothing else. It was just the title I brought in as a compromise. As a neutral idea, because it was Ken's idea and not mine or Bill's or Dan's, so that's the only connection, really. It ties it historically to Ken and Carcass and keeps it within the Carcass universe, but it wasn't that demo or that idea is not a direct influence on this album. It's just the album title.
What was it about that title that stood out to you? There must have been something there that made you remember it for so long.
It's kind of cool but stupid and typically Ken. So it's nice to have the ghost of Ken haunting this album, if you like. So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a daft title, but very Carcass,
Yeah, yeah.
Because no one would ever use the phrase, I tore the arteries out of that person, So yeah, I think it's just typical Ken, and it's nice to have a bit of a bit of a Ken sparkle on the album.
One of the other things that really stood out to me with this album as well was the rhythms, and I read somewhere recently that that's where you guys actually start a lot of your songs, with a rhythm or with an idea. Can you tell us a little bit about the songwriting process that you guys go through? Because I know it hasn't changed much over the years.
I can't really say much more than the way I see it. I mean, a lot of Genesis of these songs were written by Ken and Dan, so the crux of the song's already there when I come in. It's only my job to really kind of whip it into shape, make it into more of a song, because they have riffs and drums going, but they never seem to deliver a final song. So it always seems to be up to me to come in and try and dictate. This is the verse, this is going to be the chorus, and I shoehorn the lyrics in. So the actual Genesis themselves, it's something you'd have to put to Bill. I mean, Bill wrote 99% of the riffs of this album, so I know what he would say where he's coming from is he tried to come up with ideas for Carcass songs where Carcass has never been before. So yeah, and Bill is totally into the drums, and so yeah, we've just basically tried to bring into the Carcass arena musical ideas, be that rhythms or whatever, that we've never done before. Otherwise we're going to be repeating ourselves. So.
Yeah.
Just bear with me. I'll just go around to the door.
Yep, not a problem. To expand a little bit more on that, you said about staying fresh. With 30 years behind you with the band, does it become difficult after a while to stay fresh, or do you constantly have new ideas?
I don't think this album shows that. I'm not suggesting that this album's necessarily fresh. All I can say is we've tried to be fresh.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fresh. Maybe it's fresh in the Carcass world. I mean, if you only listen to the 7 albums we've done, then it doesn't sound like any of the other 6, really. Hopefully not. So, as to whether it's fresh in wider musical terms, probably not.
Yeah.
Because it's been influenced a lot by the past, So.
Definitely, yeah. And I know with this album that you had to kind of bounce back and forth between England and Sweden. Tell us a little bit about that, because in the last 18 months, that's been so difficult to do. So tell us a little bit about how you...
But this predates the pandemic, so it wasn't difficult to do at all.
Yeah.
The album was finished in early 20, so it predates the pandemic.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about doing that, though. Like, was that something that you guys have done before, or was it something that you did differently this time, bouncing back between two countries?
Yeah, it's the first time we've bounced between places, but we've always recorded albums in other cities, so there's no real difference. Only the geographical distance is a difference, and you might have to catch a plane, but we've never recorded an album in our own house, for example, so... the world is smaller than it's ever been, so it's no big deal to jump on a plane and go to Sweden. It was nice to... It would have been nice to do the album in the Bahamas, but it was nice just to go somewhere different and just, absorb a different country for a while. Yeah, it was easy,
Yeah, and Sweden's got such a great history when it comes to death metal and metal itself. Were you able to kind of explore any of that while you were there?
No, and I disagree on both those counts anyway. I'm joking. They've got some great old school death metal bands, but I wouldn't necessarily put Sweden on the heavy metal map for the most part,
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what it's been like for you guys during the pandemic. Here it's been really tough. We've done, I think it was 200 days in lockdown last year, and now we're back in lockdown again. Does it feel weird bringing out an album at the moment during such a weird time?
No. I mean, it might have seemed weird last year because we had the option to release it then, and I wish we had. Cause with hindsight, we should have, but we didn't know this pandemic was going to drag on so long. I don't think it doesn't really feel weird. It's just a new normal, isn't it?
Yeah. We've
got no choice at the end of the day. We can't just sit on it forever. I mean, we could be sat here having the same conversation next year that things are still difficult. So, we've got to get it out there now. It wouldn't really matter if it came out in 5 years because I don't think it's going to age musically. But we can't sit on the damn thing forever.
Yeah. What's it like for you guys there now? Like, it's been really weird here in the last couple of months that our news has become so focused on what's happening here with the pandemic that they've kind of not telling us what's happening in the rest of the world now. What's it looking like there for you now? And is there any chance that you guys might be able to get out and tour this album at all?
Things are looking positive in the UK. The vaccine rollout's been pretty good. The country opened up 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there hasn't really been a mass resurgence as far as the media is concerned, there's not been a massive resurgence or spike in the virus, so things are looking pretty good. But that said, we're entering winter soon, so we could be back to square one by early next year. Who knows?
Yeah.
Some gigs have been happening. A few festivals have happened. There's been a few one-off gigs, but there's been no real tours yet. Travelling to Europe is still difficult. And add on to that the Brexit bullshit as well. It's made life very difficult. We can't enter the US, neither can you. We can't enter Australia. So travel's really restricted internationally. So I'm not that optimistic about international touring for the time being. We were meant to go out on tour at the end of this month with Behemoth and Arch Enemy. That's been postponed to next year. We were looking at doing our own European tour in March next year, but I think even March next year is too soon, so we postponed that.
Yeah.
Personally, I just need to see some evidence that things are happening before I can throw my lot in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a lot of wasted planning and building people's hopes up and a waste of money.
Yeah, and that's what it's been like here as well. I know, every day as a music journalist, I get a press release from a band saying that they're going to do a tour in October, and you kind of look at it and think, are you guys going to, though? Because we've almost had now 2 years of cancellations here in Australia, and yeah, it's the weirdest time for us here at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of very desperate, optimistic people. People are announcing stuff, and they haven't really looked into the logistics of it, and they seem to be gambling more than anything.
Yep.
You know? They're announcing these things, and the chance that it might happen, no matter how slim it is outweighing the overwhelming thousands of reasons why it won't. I don't think bands have been realistic, you know. I mean, I know bands that have announced US tours for this year, and you're like, we can't even enter the US.
Yeah.
Some of the AstraZeneca vaccine is not even recognised in the US.
Yep.
And that's the vaccine that most people have had in England, in the UK, you know. So
yeah, same here. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Jeff, I also wanted to talk to you about the album cover. It is an absolutely amazing album cover. I'm looking at it right now. Tell us a little bit about that artwork, because it's stunning.
What do you want me to say? You've got eyes, you can look at it. I mean, that's an open question there, Dave. I mean, you know. Yeah,
well, I guess where did the idea come from, and what made you guys settle on that album cover?
It's not a very original idea, is it? I mean, sure, if you Googled heart, you'd come up with thousands of variations of what humans have done illustrating the human heart. I mean, for me, I just plagiarized a photograph that I saw from someone had won a competition in a Canadian hospital, and it's someone else's interpretation on the same kind of idea, but I'm sure that idea in Canada had been taken off someone else. I mean, it's like everything in art, everything's lifted from somewhere else, so there's not really too much to say. It's the human heart done with vegetables. I think it's just so... I mean, when I told the label about it, I told the label, you're going to hate this. But the label boss just said, yeah, that's just totally Carcass. And yeah, it is. It's nice, clean, crisp, clinical, nice crisp salad, you know. So
definitely,
it's nice and iconic, and it's in the same vein as Surgical Steel or Heartwork. So, you know, none of that kind of Dungeons and Dragons nonsense.
Definitely. Well, Jeff, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, but before I go, I wanted to ask, what would you like to say to all of the Aussie fans out there who are waiting eagerly for this album so that they can sit down and take a listen to it?
So that's all two people out there. Well, I mean, I hope it was worth the wait. I really do. That's all I can say, really.
Definitely.
Hope you enjoy it.
Well, mate.
Refunds.
Well, mate, we cannot wait until we can see you guys back in Australia one day. We're hoping the borders do open back up, but for now, I just want to say thank you so much for this amazing album, and thank you so much for 30 years of amazing music.
Cheers, Dave. Thanks for your time. You have a good evening.
You too, mate. See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.